Okay. Hello, guys. So, uh, today I will discuss about or I will explain about what is a Canadian PR and what are the steps we have to complete for applying for the Canadian PR. So, how I came to this is like when I started my PR process, I started it alone. So many of my friends, when they knew that okay, I'm already doing the PR application, so they asked me like they had a lot of doubts like how to start with the process, what are the steps involved, what is the cost involved, and whether we require a consultancy to apply for the Canadian PR, like n number of questions. So everyone has, and I also had these doubts when I started the process. Mm, so what happens is like whenever we are doing this process, it is very difficult to take the first step. So I thought of migrating to some countries like Australia or New Zealand like 3 4 years back, but I was always scared to take the first initial step because I was not aware like how to proceed with this one, and I just started my career how it will be. So then the last year in 2018, um, I started the process because I wanted to move to Canada. So I decided which country to move on. So then I started the process. So then I started doing research on what are the steps involved and how we can start the process and other things. So then I thought like, okay, I will share these details with all of you because majority of the people would like to hear how it is about what Canadian PR is about. So I would say like, what if you are thinking of migrating to Canada? So the first step which you have to do is like you have to understand whether you are eligible to migrate to Canada. So how you can check whether you are eligible for migration? So there are two choices for a normal person, like with a working graduate who are educated in India, who don't have any Canadian experience, work experience, or like education qualification from Canada. So then you have opportunities to migrate to Canada either through PR, that is the express entry system. You have permanent residency, or through provincial nomination program. So I am going for permanent residency, so I can explain about how the PR is about. So the first step you have to understand is like all the details regarding the Canada PR migration is available in Canadian website. No other agency or no other consultant can give you better information than what is available in the Canadian website. So the website is canada.ca or cic.ca. So you can refer this website to understand any details or any clarification. So it is explained very well on what is the requirements and how they are doing it. So they are the agency, or so they are the government who is providing, so they know what is required from a potential candidate or potential person who is migrating to Canada. So it is very well available. The first step is to understand whether you are eligible to migrate to Canada. So how the Canadian government takes the candidate is using a CRS score. So they have a ranking system called comprehensive ranking system. So how they calculate is like, so when you give the details of your education, your work experience, your marital status, so all your personal details, based on these personal details which you are providing to the website or this tool, they will calculate a score for you. That is how you are ranked in their list of candidates. So it is based on this CRS score, they will be taking the candidates who are they will be inviting the candidates. So the today is the latest draw which happened, that is today is October 2nd. So today the latest draw happened, and the cutoff score is 464, which means that all the candidates who have registered in the express entry pool, who have submitted their profiles in the express entry pool and have their CRS cutoff score greater than or equal to 464 would would be receiving their ITA invitation to within 24 hours. That is either by today night or by tomorrow morning, they will be getting their invitation letters from Canadian government. So if you have the invitation letters, it is called as ITA. You can either accept the invitation or decline. Once you accept the invitation, you have 2 months to provide all your documents to the Canadian government. So that is this will come as a later stage. So first you have to understand what is your CRS code. So if your CRS score is somewhere around 450 or 460, 465 or more than that, then you have very good chances. So more than 460, then you will probably get your invitation within like 2 or 3 months maximum. But if your score is somewhere between 450 or 460, then you will be having you would have to wait probably for some more time to get your invitation. So that is the CRS score is all about. So first you have to understand what is your CRS score. So and your CRS score is very less, like 300 or 350 or 360 means, then probably your only option is to go to Canada. Migrate to Canada is only via PNP system. So that is a separate system which I'm not aware of, because I'm not doing any research on the PNP. I am doing my research, or I am doing the PR process, so I have good knowledge about what PR is about. So I'll explain about PR. So but you can understand where do you stand and whether you will get it. Nothing comes very easy, but if you put some effort, whether you will be able to migrate to Canada as PR. So it based on your CR score. So that is the first step. Many consultancies charge 3,000, 4,000, or 5,000 rupees, saying like, okay, the first step is to understand your eligibility. You give us 5,000 rupees advance, and we will check and let you know whether you are eligible to migrate to Canada. And the thing is, you will never get a negative response from them. All the consultants will say that you are eligible to migrate to Canada. So this step is not a very big deal. It is a very easy step. Any person who knows how to use a computer will be able to understand this one, and you can check your eligibility. So once you are eligible, if you know that you are eligible and you have a very good CRS score, what is the next steps? Then the step is like, many people choose a consultant to work for them for during their Canada migration process and to file their application. So then the question is like, who is a authorized consultant, or who is a credit worthy consultant, and whether you require a consultant, or what are the charges involved in appointing a consultant. So the first question is like whether they are authorized. To understand whether a consultant is authorized or unauthorized, you can always ask the consultant for their IRCC reference number or IRCC registration number. So each consultant who are authorized by the Canadian government, they will have a registration number called IRCC registration number. So you can always ask for the IRCC registration number, and you can counter verify this registration number in the Canadian website. That is the website which I said earlier, which I mentioned earlier. So in that website, you can check this IRCC number. You will get all the details about this registered consultant and the status of their registration, whether their registration is still valid and whether they are still active. So this will help you to understand who is an authorized consultant and who is not an authorized consultant. So what difference it makes between an authorized consultant and unauthorized consultant is like as mentioned, this authorized is consultant is having a registration number with the Canadian website. So in case of any disputes, or in case of any fraudulent activities, or like any agreements or disagreements you have with your consultant, you can always approach the IRCC or Canadian government and say like, yes, this consultant has done this to me. Can you take any legal action against this consultant, or can you please look into this issue? Definitely. So the Canadian government has some control, and your issue is, or your concern grievance is genuine, then they can probably take some action against this consultant. And no consultant would like to have a black mark against their registration number or in their career. So that is the one good thing about the IRCC registration number. And the second thing question, or which is asked by many of my friends, is like whether I require a consultant to do this PR process. The simple answer for this question is like, no, you don't require a consultant for doing the Canadian process, because you can do all these things alone if you are comfortable in doing this, and it is you who has to provide all your documents and all your details about your history, work experience, educational qualification, all these things you have to do it. The consultant can only help you with some of the documentation. They can guide you like what are the documents you have to submit to substantiate your claims, and certain document templates which they can provide. They can always help you in creating a profile in the express entry pool. Creating a profile in the express entry pool is like you create an account in Naukri or in Facebook, so you give the details basically. So these are the things a consultant can help you with. So what is the advantage in appointing a consultant? If you are a working personnel or working professional, then probably it would help you to save some time and effort, because your consultant will be doing all this account creation. And one more important advantage is like, since they are a consultant, they will be doing this activity on a daily basis, and they will know which are the fields they have to fill in, what details they have to provide, how the system works. So there is less chances of errors while doing the submission of the documents and other thing. So that is one advantage. The third thing is like, question is like, what is uh, what is considered as the best price or best consultation service charges. Many of the consultant ask for like 1 lakh, 1.5 lakh, 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs. One of the consultancy asked me or informed me like their service charge is 3 lakhs. So what I personally believe is like, anything more than 50,000 Indian rupees is considered as expensive. That is what I believe. Because at the maximum, I believe the consultancy's efforts on your profile or your case ID is not more than 20 or 24 hours at the maximum, including every documentation. So I don't think more than 50,000 for 24 25 hours, like 2,000 rupees per hour. So that is fair enough, and more than that I believe it is something very expensive and not required at all. So how you can negotiate with a consultant is like, most of the consultancies charge these high amounts like 1 lakh, 2 lakh, saying like they will help you with the educational credential assessment, and they will help you with the IELTS. So in my personal opinion and my personal experience, what I say is like, consultancy cannot help you with both of these. They cannot help you with an educational credential assessment, and they cannot help you with an IELTS. Yes, of course, they can help you in creating an account for educational assessment. If you are going through WES for the educational credential assessment, they can help you in creating an account. It will not take more than 5 minutes to create an account in WES. So that is the maximum they can do. All your documents and everything, the rest of the all the other effort, you have to do it yourself. So it is just a matter of 5 minutes creating an account. Similarly for IELTS, they can only book you an appointment. They cannot learn and they cannot teach you, and they cannot help you in getting the IELTS score. So it is, you have to put your efforts from your end to get your IELTS score. So these two things you can probably do it yourself, and then you approach. Once you're done with this, you have your educational credential assessment in hand, and then you have your IELTS score in your hand. Then you can probably approach any consultant and say, see, I have already done this process, you don't have to worry about these two steps. It is I no longer require your help on doing these two things, like my educational credential assessment and IELTS. So give me a better deal. So that is how I negotiated, and I got a better deal, like within my budget, that is 50,000. So that is how you have to appoint the consultant, or that is how you can negotiate on the prices or the service charges of a consultant. But to be honest, it is not required. Consultant is not required. I was ready to appoint a consultant because I found it better, because I can avoid a lot of unnecessary errors, as well as I don't have to take the risk of creating another profile and on doing research on how to create a profile, because I was already busy with my professional work. So I thought like, I will appoint a consultant. So these are the two things which you have to take care. And what is the first step you have to what is this, after checking the eligibility, and what is the first step you have to do is like, you have to do your educational credential assessment. So that is the first thing. So I will create a different video about how to create and how to do the educational credential assessment, and what is required in doing this one, doing the ECA. And the second one is like simultaneously you can go for a IELTS. So I will create a separate video for how to prepare for IELTS and how to get the magic score of 778. So I will create another video probably like within 2 or 3 days, and you can always refer to the explanation. Thank you.